Hello everyone, it's day 80 of President Bola Tinubu's administration. In exactly 20 days, he would have spent 100 days in office. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Exactly 9 days after the screening and confirmation of 45 ministers-designate by the Senate, President Tinubu has now assigned portfolios to the incoming ministers. They are to be sworn in on Monday, 21st of August at the State House Conference Center in the Presidential Villa, Abuja, by President Tinubu. And that's expected to happen at 10 a.m. Guests are to be seated by 9 a.m. We understand that each designate can come with 2 guests. We'll share highlights of these portfolios in the course of the program. But let's tell you that the National Economic Council has now approved the release of more food items to the 36 states and the FCT to reduce the impact of the rising cost of food and other commodities. It was also disclosed that at the NEC meeting that the federal government has approved the sum of 5 billion naira for each state, and it's for the procurement of food items. 52% of this money will be disbursed as grants, while 48% is to be paid back to the Central Bank of Nigeria within a period of 20 months. State House correspondent Femi Akonde joins me live from the Presidential Villa to discuss this latest intervention. Femi, 5 billion naira each for states of the Federation for the procurement of food items. What more do we know about the modalities, the beneficiaries, and how soon this disbursement will be done?
Well, Ifemi, we know that out of 5 billion naira, so far 2 billion naira have been disbursed to states. That was confirmed by the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Ubasani. He said they have collected 2 billion naira so far, and they are waiting for the last tranche that might come. That will be the 3 billion naira left of that amount that will get to each state for the procurement of food items, and also to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal, rising inflation, and also to help at least provide a better life for Nigerians who are reeling from the effect of the current economic reality. But you know, these funds that have been disbursed and will be disbursed are not just free or just they are like grants. 52% of it will be given as grants to the states, while 48% of this money will be repaid back by the states through the Central Bank of Nigeria. The states are also talking, the states, that's through the National Economic Council, are also talking about the 500 billion naira that has been set aside as intervention fund by President Bola Tinubu's administration to critical sectors of the country, the MSMEs, industries, manufacturing, agriculture, and all other critical sectors of the economy to help revamp the country's economy. But they are also talking about the $800 million loan that the Senate has approved. They are insisting that this disbursement must be done through a credible social register. And you know, at the last Economic Council meeting, the state governors were charged to go and develop a social register in their states that will capture the names of the vulnerable and the poor of the poor, because they have all discredited the federal government register, the federal government social register that existed before now. They doubt its integrity and even the modalities in compiling all of those names. So the buck is on the desk of the state governors. A lot of them want to be, they want to monitor the disbursement of these funds and ensure that it is cascaded to the poorest of the poor of the society in their states, and just to boost the local economy, macro and macroeconomic of the country.
Well, now we know that each governor has gotten 2 billion naira. Stakeholders now must follow up to find out how these monies are spent. But you spoke with some of the governors yourself. Is there clarity as to, you know, carrying the people along with the disbursement of this fund?
Yes, indeed. That's why they are emphasizing on the social registers, because this will have to be done according to the names captured in the social register. They say by doing that, that would ensure that everyone is carried along, that the purpose for which these funds is intended to achieve is not truncated, because they believe that, with the social register, the governors will be able to follow through with the disbursement, because they would have also done a needs assessment of the people at the subnational level in their various states, and to know exactly what they want and how to meet these specific needs of their states. Peculiar, of course, each state's needs are the needs of the states are peculiar to each state. So what they are saying is that, well, with this social register, they will be able to judiciously disburse these monies and ensure that it is not diverted for another purpose.
We're looking forward to the impact of this, particularly with the rising cost of food and commodities. State House correspondent Femi Akonde live for us at the Presidential Villa. Now that we know the portfolios, the big question is, are these individuals square pegs and square holes, and what's the expectation ahead of the new Federal Executive Council? I'm joined by National Secretary of the NNPP, Dipo Layoko, and APC Publicity Secretary in Lagos State, Ayodele Adiwale. They both join me via Zoom. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program. Let me begin with Mr. Layoko. What do you make of this cabinet now that we know the portfolios of the ministers-designate?
Yeah, thank you very much, Nifemi, and good evening, Lagos. Lagos, good evening, Nigeria. Yes, there's one thing we need to understand. The cabinet is President Tinubu's cabinet, so they are to serve Nigeria. And don't forget that during the electioneering, he articulated some points that he wants to achieve at the end of 4 years. So I believe that the cabinet is made up of people that he thinks can help him to accomplish whatever he has set out to accomplish. So I think we should be in a better position to assess the people, because he told us again, don't forget, he said the cabinet was made up of politicians, which is very, very necessary, and technocrats. And to some extent, I think he has made that promise. Now, as to the distribution of the ministries or the cabinets to individuals, like I said, it is his cabinet. He knows what he wants to achieve. Because some people have been asking questions, what is this person doing in this ministry? What is this person doing in this ministry? But we don't know the brief that the president is going to give them. So those people are going to the ministries to represent his views. And then there's something we need to understand, which is an old age-long tradition. The powerhouse of the ministry is in the bureaucracy. How do I mean? I mean the civil servants, right from the directors, even before the directors, below the directors, up to the permanent secretary. So the ministers are just to give the political direction. And what matters most is experience and exposure for them to be able to stand as a link between the government, that is the president, and then the ministry that are the civil servants, who are the people that will carry out or implement whatever the president wants to achieve. I think that's what we can say for now. Maybe as the program progresses, we can now go into the individual and then what's expected of them as cabinet members.
So, Mr. Adiwale, there are a few surprises here. It's the first time we'll have a minister of FCT from the South. Ian Sowike had many portfolio suggestions before this appointment, and FCT wasn't one of them. What do you make of Sowike as FCT minister? Some jokingly have said it's his opportunity of becoming a third-term governor. It's just that this time it's in Abuja.
Well, thank you for having me. And I must correct the statement you made. I am not the publicity secretary of the APC in Lagos. I am the organizing secretary of the APC in Lagos. Having said that, Mr. Wike is very good to serve at the federal ministry, at the federal capital territory, as it is. He has proved himself in terms of infrastructure provision, and is someone that is very keen in bringing transformation to anywhere he finds himself. So we should be expecting a lot of monumental projects coming up at record speed. and someone who will walk the talk. As for others, the president has put in square peg in square holes. He knows what he wants. He knows how to make use of them. And like the other speaker said, the civil servants are the mainstream of the ministry. They already set up plans. A lot of new plans that will come on board, majorly will be driven by the civil service. The political holder is just to make sure that everything goes as planned, and of course to put his own ingenuity into place. If you look at Bosun, the man that was put into the telecom industry and all of that, is someone that's going to bring a lot of transformation in there. As a youth, as a key player in that industry, is going to do very, very well. I have no fear in my mind that we'll not be seeing new things happening in our politics in Nigeria. We should just give more support to the administration and watch how everything will unfold.
So, Mr. Layoku, you mentioned earlier that it is the president's prerogative to, distribute or assign these portfolios. But as you know, Nigerians are already matching their CVs with their offices. There is Festus Keyamo, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, who has now gotten the Minister of Aviation. The man did say, Minister of State was illegal at the tail end of his tenure as, I think, Minister of State of Labor in the last administration. There's also the current special advisor to the president on special duties, communication and strategy, who is now Minister of Solid Minerals. How important, is it for ministers to come into these offices with some level of understanding and knowledge, or even a discipline in that regard?
Yeah, that's why I said in my opening remarks that the bulk of the work, especially the area of technocrats aspect of it, resides in the technocrats in the ministry. What the minister or the commissioner is supposed to provide is just the political direction. And it depends on the individual person to make his impact felt in the ministry that he is posted to. A lot of people have been talking about this cabinet matching and stuff like that. And I was captured, so to speak, by the submission of one person who said, Baba, late Bafumi Awolowo, the late sage, to the knowledge of everybody, read law. But under the former head of state, Senator Yakubu Gowon, he was made the commissioner for Minister for Finance, so to speak. And if we was able to manage the finances of the country, even during the war, that we did not borrow one kobo, it shows that what matters most is the experience, the exposure, and the political will of the person to succeed. Yes, as a matter of fact, some of these matchings, in terms of cabinet distribution, came as a surprise to many people. And you have mentioned the case of our senior brother, Mr. Delalake, who everybody could swear by whatever they have that he was going to cleanse the Minister of Information and Strategy based on his experience when he was in Lagos State and what he has been doing with the Ashwaju since then. And that's why I said the president has a focus. And there must be the people he chose, especially in the case of Delalake, is someone he knows inside out. So definitely he knows that what he wants to achieve in the area of mineral resources, something, can only be achieved through Mr. Delalake. And that is one thing we need to give conceit to him. I think we can only complain if after 2 years, there are no signs that these people will deliver. That's when we can begin to ask questions. And like I said, in the case of Festus Keyamo, about 4 years, in the last 4 years, was a minister, so they call it minister of state. But a minister is a minister, going by experience. I think what he needs most is the experience which he has garnered in the past 4 years. And maybe the president was looking at the area of legal issues. That's why he had made him the minister for aviation and something like that. So, like I said, it is the president that knows what he wants to achieve. It is now to us, because the information at his disposal, we don't know. And we don't know, like somebody was saying jokingly in the morning, that is like Ekiti State is now, the Ministry of Solid Minerals is now the something for Ekiti State. So the president knows what he wants to achieve. From our own end, we can begin to ask questions. When you say, what is this man doing? For example, we could have been asking questions about the man in the Ministry of Defense. But they have forgotten that the president candidate of NNPP and the who was a former governor of Kano State, the two-term governor, was Minister for Finance under General Obasanjo in his second term. And we could say with all certainty that Nigeria was not experiencing what we are having now when he was minister. So the president has their CV, he has their assistant. There must be a reason why he has paid them, giving them the ministries that he has given them. Well, ours is as Nigerians to support them. We can be here analyzing because of the information at our disposal. But the president has more information than us. He knows what he wants to achieve in the Ministry of Defense. That's why he has put that man in the Ministry of Defense. He knows what he wants to achieve in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's why he has put our brother Mr. there. We can only question his sense of judgment if after a few years you find out that these people are not even giving any sign they are going to deliver. I think that should be our concern. Our concern now is how do we make sure that we support these people to succeed? Because it is only when the government succeeds that Nigerians can say, yes, we are actually arising. Nobody wants to continue this suffering. We want a government that can alleviate the suffering of Nigeria, provide security, and that is why it is the future of everybody to support the government. He has made his choice. He has formed his cabinet. That's what everybody is asking for. Form your cabinet, start the government, let it start rolling. I think if the president has done this, what we should do is to support him, and then the ministers as well.
How important is the need to have the performances reviewed periodically? Because that's something that's one conversation we had about, the cabinet from the previous administration. Mr. Adewale, what do you think is expected of Mr. President differently this time, particularly when it comes to set objectives and, reviewing their performance on a periodic basis?
Well, you must understand that the president has a corporate background. He has worked in one of the biggest corporate establishments, and he understands what KPI simply means. So I can assure you that periodically, perhaps quarterly or half-yearly, there will be a review on their performance. And the president already has his roadmap, he has his plan in the reviewed hope document. For each of the ministries, there are plans that have been put in place, and definitely there will be more heads that will be put to support all of these ministers in the ministry. So it's not just going to be a one-man show, it's going to be a team show whereby things will be reviewed. And if you look at the office of Minister Wale Edo, he said to be the coordinating minister for the economy. In all of these ministries, they are all tapped into cascading the economy of Nigeria for good. So there will always be central review of their programs and actions, and there will be so many things that we put in place. Many of these ministries have been redefined in terms of their structure and in terms of their working. And definitely, the president knows what he's doing. And you are going to see the kind of changes we saw in Lagos State when it came in 1999 and how he was able to improve the economy of Lagos and, of course, the prosperity of Lagos, the structure of the geography in terms of usage of the landmass that we have in Lagos, especially at the Lekki corridor, where he also brought in the free trade zone. So you're going to be seeing something similar in many of these industries. Right. And I'm particularly going to see, hoping to see what will happen in the Blue Economy Ministry and all of that.
All right, so gentlemen, we just have a few more minutes. If I can just get a minute to hear your view about this, Mr. Olayokun. There was no portfolio for the Minister of Petroleum Resources, suggesting that the president might be overseeing the ministry that has now been split from the Minister of Gas Resources, just like we saw in previous administrations of President Obasanjo and I think President Buhari. How effective has this been, having the president oversee this particular ministry? And talk to us about why it must be different, because we now have a substantive Petroleum Industry Act.
Yes. I want to say it is too early to jump into conclusion that the president is going to take up that responsibility. Yes, in view of the fact that the under President Obasanjo and President Muhammad Buhari, we had the president holding that office. Don't forget that we still have about 3 outstanding ministers that have not been cleared. If not, we will not be out of this. Maybe one of them is going to occupy that position. But let us just assume that the president is going to take up that opportunity of being the minister. So I think there must be a reason why those two presidents decided to hold on to the substantive position of the Minister for Finance for Petroleum. There must be a reason. Because it depends on the focus of the government as far as the area of the economy is concerned. Don't forget again, we have something that akin to what we had under President Jonathan. I think we now have a coordinating minister for the economy, if I'm not mistaken. I think they said the very round So everything, like we said, boils down on what the president wants. Don't forget, according to Section 5 of the Constitution, all powers, the executive powers in the state belong to the president. That means he's number one minister of all the ministers, but he can to those submit some of these powers to his aides, beginning from his vice president down to the people he wants to appoint as minister. And they hold their offices at his own whims and caprices. The day he said, "You are no more a minister," definitely you will keep the cabinet. So I think what the president is doing is to keep a lot of Nigerians in guessing.
I hear you, Mr. Layakon. I'm afraid that's our time. We'll continue this conversation subsequently. A big thank you, Dipo Layakon, the national, the national secretary of the NNPP, and we're also joined by organizing secretary of the APC in Lagos, Ayodele Adewale. Gentlemen, thank you for your contribution on the program this evening. Well, that's our show. Thanks for being a part of it. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.